You know what I love? Well, if you're on this channel, you probably guessed it by now. I love anime and video games and pretty much anything nerd culture. But you know what I hate? I hate not being able to create things that celebrate what I enjoy. Basically what I'm saying is I can't create art like these pictures you see behind me. So today I want to show you guys some of my favorite artists online who create art for you to look at and enjoy yourself. So let's get into it. Okay, so what brought this upon, or this video actually, is a good buddy online, Shy Jedi. Shout out to Shy Jedi. He's going to be the first one we're talking about. He sent me this piece. I actually entered a giveaway and I won it. I didn't realize until he messaged me like a few weeks after. He's like, hey man, you won this. And I was like, what? I won? I never won anything. And I did. So he sent me a piece and I really enjoyed his work, which is why I followed him to begin with. But winning it was awesome. So I wanted to show you guys this piece. So the first artist I'm talking about is Shy Jedi on Instagram. So here's the piece that I won. I don't know if you can see it with the glare here. I'm gonna try my best to focus on you. So see, it is Goku, and behind him are a bunch of panels from the manga. It's fucking actually amazing. So it's Goku just standing there, but I believe he's going like SS Blue right here. You can see little streaks. And yeah, this thing is fucking amazing. So what I love about his work is that he has his own voice when doing it. Sometimes if you're an artist, it's easy to just draw things because you can draw them. Like, I can draw Goku, so let me just draw Goku, and people go crazy for it, right? Well, with Shy, my favorite thing is that he has a voice to it. So the picture that I just showed you has those manga panels behind it. That's really hard to say, by the way. Manga panels. It's really hard not to say manga panels. So if I say that, I'm sorry. Anyway, he has those manga panels behind his art, which is kind of like his call sign, which I really enjoy. I don't think the first one to do it, but he's the first one that does it that I enjoy. A lot of people just throw a bunch of panels together and it looks messy. That Goku piece is sick, but also this Deku piece that he's done, it's super cool because he mixes Deku and Naruto, and it's just funny because the big argument is always like, who's the better protag? Is it Deku? Is it Naruto? He has this really sick one that he did of Yodoya. He was actually a stand-up comedian. He was a part of a channel called Get in the Robot, and then it turned into Beyond the Bot, which is kind of an inspiration for this channel. Go check them all out. They're awesome. Anyway, he did a picture of Yodoya as Kakashi, and that's kind of the first time I started following him, is because Yodoya posted it, and I was like, oh, that's really sick. I like that guy's style. And I looked at it and I was like, damn, he's really good. So I believe a lot of it is just digital. I don't know if he does any like actual drawings. I'm sure he can, but mainly his style is digital paint, and I would say that his call sign is having the panels behind it. So a lot of his stuff is really cool. So I just really enjoy his style and voice that he has, and I feel like he still is kind of finding it, but he has a defined foundation already that I do enjoy, and he's only going to get better with time. He has some original characters that he has posted on his Instagram. You can check those out. Also, I do believe anything that he draws is sellable. You probably have to DM him. It doesn't have like an official website. Some of these artists will, but Shy does not. So just give him a message. He's a cool guy. I'm sure he'll sell it to you for a good price. Thank you for the print. I enjoy it a whole lot. It's gonna get hanging up here eventually, but I wanted to film this video before I hung it up, and it's been like a while since I got your package. I'm sorry. Okay, next artist I want to talk about is going to be Kira Cutie. I found her at a con, actually, at the Sabaton Con. If you want to watch that vlog that we posted, it's the last video I believe that we posted, or one of the last videos. Anyway, she was at the con. She had a pop-up booth, and Chris actually bought a piece from her. It is the Mariah Takuchi print that she has, and I saw the print that Chris bought, and I was like, oh, where'd you get that at? And he told me, went to her booth, checked it out, and I was instantly just drawn into it. And one thing you'll notice about her work is that her work really does invoke the 90s animation that we're used to, right? It's just a big thing for people who grew up in the 90s watching anime, that this style is so like nostalgic to us, and for some reason it still holds up to this day. Whenever you see it, you're like, wow, that's really good for being the 90s. You know, animation now has come a long way, and it's crazy the fight scenes we get and like just the things that we can see, but for some reason 90s animation and drawing style will always like warm me up inside. So Kira's, or I guess just Kira, I'm sorry, I don't want to keep saying Kira. Kira's prints and art pieces just invoke that completely. Yeah, as soon as I went through her page, I was like, damn, this is really like, feels like it was torn out of just like 90s panels. People have tried to emulate the 90s style. I've seen other artists on Instagram and stuff try to do it, and it just doesn't look that good. When I saw this though, I was like, oh, this is clean. It feels like it. It's genuine. It doesn't feel like you're trying to just like grab, you know, the nostalgia factor that I was talking about earlier. It feels genuine. I believe she does everything hand drawn. It looks like whenever she posts her work, she has like her utensils that she's using. So it's always cool to see people who are able to do things with just like hand drawing and not just digital. Not saying there's nothing wrong with digital, but it's just the fact of seeing something hand drawn. I think kind of adds to the aesthetic of the '90s animation. Same thing with like older Disney movies where they actually hand drew every frame. It takes a lot of work, and I appreciate that. So when I see this stuff, I'm like, oh man, it's cooler even now because you're doing it all by hand. And even the '90s animation that she captures, she also captures like that '80s like city pop Japan feel, even like doing her pieces of the city pop queen herself, Mariah. It makes you feel like you're in that time zone, even if you didn't grow up there or during that time. It makes you feel like, oh, I can feel like the bright colors and the sounds. I can hear these paintings and then these drawings that you're doing. So yeah, I really enjoy her work. Go ahead and check her out. Again, all these Instagrams are going to be on the screen for you and down below. So Kira, shout out to you. All right, so shifting gears away from drawings, it's going to be photography. So I'm a big fan in photography, big fan of photography. I casually dabble in it, but a little branch of photography is toy photography. I did dabble in the hobby of toy photography in my earlier Instagram career. It turned out that I'm not as good as some of these people that I see, and one of the people that I see who is an inspiration is my boy Nose Rain. So Nose Rain, whenever I think about toy photography, I think about him. Whenever anyone asks like, hey, you were into toy photography? Like how is that cool? I show them some of his pictures and I'm like, this is what toy photography can be if you're really good. My stuff was pretty basic, but his stuff is amazing. Nose Rain, fun fact, is Kobe Bryant. That's what it means, and I believe it's Korean. He talks about it all the time. But yeah, so if you're wondering like what's up with the name, that's what it is. So yeah, whatever you just see any of his pictures, you're like, oh shit, this is like, these are toys. How are you doing this? He's so clever with his framing, his lighting that he uses, because it's harder. You can't just use a regular like ring light and make it look cool. No, there's other little things you have to do, and he creates atmosphere with his photos, with his lights, his angles, his smoky effects that he can add to any picture. I believe he does a little bit of post-editing. To me, adds another layer of it. So it's not just toy photography, it's actually toy photography mixed in with a little bit of Photoshop, which is always a good tool to have under your belt if you are a photographer. And yeah, Richie, he does a fantastic job of it. And yeah, he's just fantastic. There's nothing more to say about him, just go follow him. If you find his page, you can branch off from him and find other cool toy photographers. But for me, Richie's the best in my opinion, and he's awesome. So go give him a follow. Okay, so coming back into regular art styles, it's going to be the next person, Adrian_Ravenheart. So when you see Adrian's art, you think girls, right? And I guess the full disclosure there, that probably is why I followed initially, but I stayed for the art itself because Adrian has a way with playing with colors that's just, it's bright, it's awesome, it's in your face, but also the proportions that Adrian's using. If you have to study like the anatomy of the body and how it moves and how it poses, I feel like Adrian captured that to the T. It's perfect. Also, it's hard to find artists who do Kamen Rider stuff, and Adrian does Kamen Rider pictures, and they're fucking amazing. And I'm gonna put them on the screen for you to see how just glorious these are. The use of the line work, the pen that we're using, it just feels like a manga artist, how they can just draw panels with just pens, and you're like, how are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense. You're a human being. How are you creating this? That's how I feel when I see some of these just outlines without any color. I'm like, oh shit. And then the color gets in and you're like, oh my god, it's a whole nother level to it. And original characters, Adrian creates some of these original characters who look really cool, and I feel like they could already be in a show. So when I see it, I'm like, hey, I haven't seen that show, and I look, and I'm like, oh, it's an original character. Like, that's how good the original character designs are. And Adrian's style definitely makes me feel like I hate myself, because anybody who can create things that I'm like, I'm a person too, why can't I make what you're making? It baffles my mind. It definitely makes me feel like I'm less of a human being. But anybody on this list that I featured so far makes me feel like less of a human being. How can I not create things that you're creating? It's crazy. But yeah, the work speaks for itself, so go ahead and give Adrian a follow. Okay, so last on this list, we're changing it up again. This time it's gonna be a clothing brand. That's right. You're not limited on this list. You get all aspects of art in this video. That's right, baby. Anyway, so the clothing brand is gonna be So Unoriginal Club. So if you've seen this hat before, I'm gonna pull it right now because I had it on me. I've worn it in a past video. If you see it right there, it says 76ers, right? You think that, but then you get closer and you realize that it's actually Canada riding his bike. It's fucking crazy. And look at that. It's a snapback, and it's bent, and it's perfect, and it's awesome. Anyway, there's their logo. I enjoy them. One, because their work is fantastic. Two, because they're actually from Arizona. They're located in Tucson, which is always a plus because I am an Arizona person. So I support anybody locally who creates stuff like this. They popped up on my feed one time. I think it was a targeted ad, and I'm like, oh shit, that's sick. What drew me in was that, of course, the logos at first looked like sports teams. So I'm a sports fan. So anytime I see a sports logo hat, I'm like, ooh, I want to buy that because I wear sports hats. But also, it mixes anime. Amazing, right? And it's hard to find people who do embroidery work, especially on hats, because you can find anybody who can do a screen print. Anybody can make a brand these days, but to do hats and embroidery and mix these designs really well is something that will set you apart. Initially, that is what drew me into them, were the fact that they mix these anime logos with sports teams, and it's really clever and it looks good, but also they are evolving as a brand themselves. And I like that they're evolving and becoming more of like a lifestyle brand, because it's really easy to pigeonhole yourself to just like, oh, they're the anime clothing brand. Like Hypeland, their stuff's cool, but also it's like, oh, they're just like anime only. And whenever they try to go outside of that, they don't sell very well because they kind of pigeonhole themselves. But what's cool about Seoul Unoriginal is that they're still in their infancy stage where they can kind of branch off of just being the brand that makes like hats that have anime characters on them. They can actually make stuff that looks cool, looks vintage, that's trendy now that you want to wear, but also it gives you a little bit of that flair where you're like, oh, that's cool. If you know, you know. I'm wearing this little piece of anime merch here, so you know that I'm a nerd, but also I'm fashionable, because it is really easy to fall into the trap of making corny, just anime only wear. Not saying it's like a problem, but if you want to go beyond that, it is always cool to just kind of catch it right when you get hot. Like, you know, you catch like, oh shit, like this is what brought them in, but let me show them that we can do something else besides just this. So shout out to Seoul Unoriginal Club. Go give them a follow. Cool guys, local guys, love them. They're continuing to progress, and yeah. So that's the list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. These people, I feel like, are capturing my imagination, are making me want to consume more of their media, more of their products, and better myself as a creative. I want to create things that these people have created for themselves that make me go, wow, amazing. So I hope you guys give them all a follow. They're all awesome people. They're all worth the follow, and I hope that you find something that will make you want to feel creative as well. Maybe you'll create your own clothes or create your own toy photography or something along those lines. As long as you're being creative, that's the point of this video. I wanted to inspire you guys by showing you people who inspire me. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe, follow everybody down below. All the information to follow us as well is down below, all that fun stuff. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Go ahead and enjoy that artwork right there. Fucking sick, right?